Something happened on Raw last night that nobody in professional wrestling was ready for. Paul Heyman is in a hospital bed right now. He cannot move. The doctors are calling it paralysis. And the man who did this, the man who walked onto that stage with a cold smile and zero hesitation, was Seth Rollins. Not a mystery attacker. Not a masked figure hiding in the shadows anymore. Seth Rollins. In plain sight. In front of everyone. And nobody stopped him in time. This is not just another wrestling story. This is the most shocking, most disturbing, most important thing that has happened in WWE in the entire year of 2026. And if you want to understand every single layer of what happened and why it happened and what it means for everyone involved, you need to stay right here until the very end. Because this story goes much deeper than one attack on one night. Let us start with who Paul Heyman actually is. Paul Heyman is not just a manager. He is not just a man who stands ringside and talks on a microphone. Paul Heyman is the smartest brain professional wrestling has ever seen. Every single superstar he has ever managed, every single one, became bigger, became better, became more dangerous because Paul Heyman was standing in their corner thinking 10 steps ahead of everyone else in the room. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, CM Punk. Every single one of them reached a completely different level because of Paul Heyman. That is not an opinion. That is the history of this business written in championship titles and sold-out arenas and moments that people still talk about years later. So when Seth Rollins decided to attack Paul Heyman on Raw last night, he was not attacking a regular person. He was attacking the single most valuable non-wrestling brain in the entire company, and he did not do it out of anger. He did not do it because he lost control. He did it on purpose, with a plan, with a goal. That goal was paralysis, and he achieved it. Now here is where this story gets really interesting. 2026 has been the year of Seth Rollins operating in the shadows. The Mystery Attacker campaign. Weeks and months of carefully selected targets. Carefully timed strikes. Nobody knew who it was. Nobody could figure out the pattern. And then Elimination Chamber happened and Seth Rollins pulled off his mask and the whole WWE Universe finally saw the face behind everything. But here's the thing that most people missed in that moment of shock. Paul Heyman never saw it coming either. A man whose entire job, whose entire value to every person he has ever worked with, is knowing everything before it happens, seeing every threat, identifying every danger, building walls before the attack arrives. That man did not see Seth Rollins coming throughout an entire year of Seth Rollins operating directly inside his world. Think about what that does to a mind like Paul Heyman. It does not just embarrass him. It breaks something inside him. It plants a seed of doubt in a brain that has always run on complete confidence and total certainty. And a cracked foundation in a mind that operates at Paul Heyman's level is not a small problem. It is a catastrophic problem waiting for the right moment to completely collapse. Seth Rollins found that crack, and on Raw last night he hit it with everything he had. The attack itself was not wild. It was not emotional. It was not the kind of violence that happens when someone loses their temper and goes too far. Every single movement Seth Rollins made toward Paul Heyman on that stage was controlled, calculated, specific. He knew exactly which part of Paul Heyman's body he was targeting. He knew exactly what result he was trying to produce, and he did not stop until that result was achieved. That is the most frightening part of this entire story. Seth Rollins is not dangerous because he is angry. Seth Rollins is dangerous because he is calm, because he thinks, because he plans, because he looks at a situation and identifies the single most destructive thing he can do, and then he does it without hesitation and without regret. Paralyzing Paul Heyman was not Seth going too far. It was Seth doing exactly what he intended to do from the beginning. Now think about what this means for Logan Paul. The alliance between Logan Paul and Paul Heyman was the most powerful combination in WWE this year. Logan Paul's physical ability combined with Paul Heyman's strategic mind produced results that nobody else on the roster could match. Royal Rumble, SmackDown. Every major moment the alliance had this year happened because Paul Heyman was the brain behind every decision. That brain is now lying in a hospital bed unable to move. Logan Paul can find new allies. He can learn new things. He can grow as a performer. But he cannot replace Paul Heyman. Nobody can replace Paul Heyman. That specific mind, that specific experience, that specific level of strategic genius applied with full commitment to Logan Paul's career, that is gone now. Seth Rollins did not just attack one man. He destroyed an entire operation by removing the one piece that made everything else work. And the locker room watched it happen. People were there. Cameras were rolling. Paul Heyman needed someone to step in immediately and with full force. And the locker room hesitated. Because Seth Rollins has spent an entire year making every single person in that building afraid of what happens if they get in his way. That fear is now confirmed. That fear is now justified by evidence. Seth Rollins paralyzed Paul Heyman on live television in front of an entire roster and walked away. Paul Heyman gave everything to this industry. Every creative idea. Every late-night strategy session. Every single promo that made someone a star. He deserved to finish his career on his own terms. Not in a hospital bed. Not because Seth Rollins made a cold calculation and decided his ambitions were worth more than Paul Heyman's ability to walk. The road to WrestleMania just became something completely different.